If you were to build what is perhaps the finest station wagon in the world, you'd make it luxurious, safe, and comfortable. Like the 1993 Buick Roadmaster Estate Wagon.
Did you know about the car that can bring back memories of amazing family road trips? Well, the Buick Estate Wagon is that car, an iconic vehicle that has become part of American culture. So let's explore it together. The Buick Estate was a station wagon made by General Motors from 1940 to 1964, and then again from 1970 to 1996. The name estate for cars actually comes from country estate, which refers to homes located in wealthy areas, and estate car, which is what people in Britain call station wagons. The very first Buick Estate station wagon was introduced in 1940 on the mid-year GM C platform. It had a large body and a wheelbase of 121 inches with wooden paneling. Underneath its hood was a sturdy 248 cubic inch straight-8 engine producing around 107 horsepower, which was pretty impressive back then. It had a 3-speed manual transmission, which was very common for cars back then. The inside of the car was designed to be comfortable and fancy, with enough room for up to 8 people. There were comfy seats in the back that could fit everyone easily. Inside the car, there were nice materials like leather upholstery and wooden accents. These things made it feel extra special because they're what you'd expect from really expensive cars at the time. When it comes to the outside, the wagon was pretty special because it had a wooden body which made it look nice and last for a long time. This kind of design was common back in that era and helped add both style and strength to station wagons. The wagon's outer shell usually came in dark colors with fake wood patterns stuck on as decoration, giving off an old-fashioned vibe. Not many were built though, only 495 to be exact. That's why they're super rare and valuable among collectors. Now let's talk about the Buick Special Estate Series 40B from 1941 to 1942. This car had a wheelbase of 121 inches and was priced between $1,020 to $1,450. The Buick Special Series 40B had a powerful engine called the Fireball 8. It was an 8-cylinder engine that could produce around 165 horsepower. The cool thing about this car's engine is that it used 2 carburetors, which made it super quick at accelerating when you needed to pass someone on the road. This ride also came with 3 gears in its manual transmission, standard for cars back then. When we talk about the inside of the Buick Special Estate Series 40B, it had an amazing cabin that showed off great craftsmanship from back in those days. The seats were really spacious and super comfy for both drivers and passengers. Plus, there were extra add-ons you could choose from like a high-quality radio called Super Sonomatic or mirrors that made parking easy breezy. Oh yeah, and did I mention all the fancy wood accents? They just added to its overall luxurious feel. It also looked really cool on the outside. It had sleek lines and a fancy chrome grille that made people stare. The designers did a great job of making it look pretty while also being practical, which was something they liked to do in those days. They added shiny bits all over and gave it a smooth shape, so now we think of it as classic. In 1946, Buick came out with a cool car called the Super Estate Wagon. It cost $2,594 back then, which is like crazy expensive, almost $55,000 today. They only made 786 of them that year. The next year in 1947, they offered 2 different versions of this wagon, the Super and Roadmaster models. The Super was more plain but still pretty nice, while the Roadmaster had all sorts of fancy stuff inside. Both cars had wooden panels on their sides, which looked neat. In the 1950s, people started using less and less real wood panels because they needed a lot of upkeep. You had to put varnish on them all the time so that they looked nice. By 1950, most people were only putting wooden frames around their windows outside, while inside they used other materials that didn't need as much care. One of the standout cars from that era was the 1950 Buick Super Estate Wagon. It had a big engine, 248 cubic inches or 4.1 liters, and was made with great care, so there weren't many produced. The car looked cool too. It had smooth curves on its fenders, shiny chrome accents, and traditional wood paneling along the sides like you might see in an old-fashioned station wagon. Then, in 1954, the Buick Estate Wagon Model 49 was introduced with a 264 cubic inch Fireball V8 engine. This model saw production of 1,650 units, with a base price of $3,163, and it shared trims with the Century model, showcasing a variety of upholstery options. The same year, the 1954 Buick Century Estate Wagon Model 69 was launched, featuring a more robust 322 cubic inch Fireball V8 engine and a production run of 1,563 units. Priced starting at $3,470, this model emphasized luxury and comfort. The 1955 Buick Special Estate Wagon model had a big engine called the Fireball V8. They made almost 3,000 of them, and they started at around $2,974. You could add some fancy stuff like power steering and brakes to make driving easier. A few years later, in 1958, they came out with another wagon called the Buick Century Estate Wagon Model 69. This one had an even bigger engine than before. It was a sizable 6 liters. They made more of these, over 4,000, but they were also pricier, starting at about $3,831. People loved this model because it looked nice on the outside and inside too. Plus, you got wood paneling, which everybody thought was pretty sweet back then. The inside of the 1950s Buick Estate Wagons were made for coziness and extravagance. They had fancy furnishings, roomy seats, and multiple ways to fit your style. Lots of extras like electronic windows, cool radio options, and temperature control features came standard. When it comes to the outside appearance of the 1950s Buick Estate Wagons, they have classic Buick elements like a big front grille, shiny chrome details, and wooden panels that are special for this brand. The body's mostly made out of steel, but they kept some old-fashioned wood pieces on its sides as an homage to their history. This was more common in previous versions. You can get it in different colors too. Lots of people prefer two-tone shades. In the 1960s, the Buick Estate Wagon went through some changes and improvements with models like the Buick Sport Wagon and the Buick Invicta Estate Wagon. One of those upgrades was adding more powerful engines to make driving even better. The most common engine size for this car was 300 cubic inches, but later on they added an option for a bigger, stronger one at 400 cubic inches. When you got behind the wheel of a sport wagon, you could choose between 2 different types of automatic transmission, either standard or optional turbo hydromatic with 3 speeds. And because its length from front wheels to back measured around 116 inches long, enough space inside made sure everyone had plenty of legroom. On the other hand, if you wanted something really powerful during this period, then there was an awesome car called Buick Invicta Estate Wagon. It was part of Buick's fancy cars from 1959 to 1963 and had this huge engine that could do some serious work. It's called the Wildcat V8, and it measured about 6.5 liters. Plus, it came with an automatic transmission that has 2 speeds, which made lots of room for families who wanted to ride in style. When we look inside, the Buick Sport Wagons from the 1960s were designed with comfort and luxury in mind. They featured spacious and comfortable seats that could accommodate up to 8 passengers, along with ample storage space in the back. The dashboard was equipped with a variety of modern features, including air conditioning and advanced sound systems. For those seeking even more luxury, the Invicta Estate Wagon was available, boasting premium leather seats and wooden accents, making it an ideal choice for long road trips. When it comes to the outside, they had smooth lines and a special roof called the Vista roof that let in more light. Some of them also came with 2 different paint colors to make them look even better. The Invicta model was designed like a regular wagon, but it had fancy chrome details and you can pick different colors for it too. If you wanted, you could add wood panels to get an old-fashioned style. The Buick Estate Wagon made a comeback in 1970 as one of the fanciest station wagons around, competing with cars like the Mercury Colony Park and Chrysler Town & Country. The car was loaded with a really strong engine that had an impressive amount of power. It could generate up to 370 horsepower, and was about as big as other cars from Buick called the LeSabre and Wildcat models. You could fit lots of stuff inside because it was large enough with room for everyone too. Then in 1971, the Estate Wagon got a bigger body style, which made it more spacious and classier inside. This model used the powerful 455 V8 engine from 1971 to 1976, so you could have lots of room without sacrificing speed. In 1977, they scaled back on size by switching to General Motors' B-body platform for better fuel efficiency, but kept all those luxury deluxe features intact. And then came the Estate Wagon Limited, introduced in 1979 with extra luxury stuff like 4 fancy vents on each fender that set this car apart. When it comes to the outside of the Buick Estate Wagons of the 70s, they had a smooth and sophisticated appearance with long lines. The front part also stood out as unique and beautiful. They used wood grain decoration on these cars, which was trendy during that period in America, adding to their overall charm. Let's go back to 1990, which was the last year that Buick made their estate model. During this time, they combined two of their wagon models, the Electra and LeSabre, into one fancy new car called simply Estate Wagon. This made things simpler for buyers who wanted all those luxurious features that make a Buick great. The next year, in 1991, they changed its name again. Now it became known as the Roadmaster Estate Wagon. It kept going like that until 6 years later in 1996 when it stopped being produced altogether. The 1990 model had a powerful 5.0-liter V8 engine with smooth performance that Buick designed for comfort and ease of use. It was built on the same platform as the Electra 225, which gave it plenty of room inside. And its overall size made it an impressive vehicle to behold. This car got around 15 miles per gallon while driving in town and about 22 miles per gallon when cruising down the highway. Pretty typical numbers for big cars like this back then. When we look at the outside of the Buick Estate Wagon, it still had that classic style with wooden panels on its side. The wood was optional but made the car look more fancy. It also had a long hood and big trunk space which looked good and were helpful for families or people who wanted a comfy ride. The 1990s models, especially the last one in 1990 called Roadmaster, showed how luxurious station wagons can be by giving lots of room inside to relax in comfort. This is what makes them famous. If you enjoyed watching this video, please remember to subscribe to our channel for more fun content like this. Don't forget to hit the like button and share your thoughts in the comments section below. We look forward to hearing from you.